Welcome to Week 13. It is Grueling Truth, Cincinnati Bengals weekly show. I'm your host, Mike Goodpasser. Right now I want to welcome in former Cincinnati Bengal linebacker Joe Kelly.
What's going on, Mike?
Not much, Joe. It's been a while since we get to talk about a win.
Yeah, well, I can't even recall the last time. We started this show off with on a good note. It's just it's unfortunate, It's more disappointing when in my opinion, we have the ability to at least compete with most of the top teams in the league, and we're not getting it done. So where are you pointing the blame? Because now at 3-7-1, regardless of what you're saying to the media, how well and how professional you want to be, 3-7-1, you're pointing fingers because this is not Cleveland. This is not Indianapolis or Jacksonville. This team was expected to compete to go to the Super Bowl, and at 3-7-1, I think behind the shadows, you're starting to point fingers, and you may not physically start pointing fingers, but I guarantee you there's some guys like, hey man, that guy's not holding his own. This, we can talk about Nugent. It's different. It's different what they do now. Because with me, I would think you at least would bring there has to be 4 or 5 kickers who were on teams, NFL teams, kicked in this league, and are good enough to bring in for a tryout.
Minnesota just recently replaced their kicker.
Yeah, when you're telling me that this guy can miss 3 extra points in a row over the span of several games, and as well as another field goal, and you can't even bring anybody to compete on a Monday or Tuesday to look at him. At some point you would have to say, who is really making, those decisions, and who do you really say that they are from a fan's perspective? We want to do anything and everything we can do in order to win. Here's
the thing I was thinking of, Joe. I know we always talk about who was making decisions, but if you look at the last 4 years, everybody claims that Marvin makes all the decisions. Now, when things go bad, everybody claims that Mike Brown must have a hand in it. Yeah. So I was starting to think that maybe it's Marvin, Joe.
Knowing somewhat of the organization, I can assure you and anybody else that's listening that Marvin is not making all the decisions.
Yeah, but Marvin makes the decision to call timeout with 14 seconds left in the third quarter when you could just let the clock run out.
Yes, and another faux pas was when they called timeout and Baltimore challenged the call. They weren't going to challenge it. They challenged it, and it was overturned. It's been some bad. It's been some bad judgment calls. Period. We looked all the way back from Pittsburgh game where they didn't challenge the touchdown. When was it Boyd who caught the touchdown and he drug his knee?
I think with the knee down and the knee equals 2 feet.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because now, Mike, you're aware that everything now gets magnified. Every mistake gets magnified. Every bad call gets magnified. I've read, post after post, let's go with A.J. McCarron. And to me, that's the most asinine thing because, in my opinion, Dalton is playing as well as he could possibly play.
Well, I mean, when the defensive end gets to the spot to throw the ball before you do, there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the only thing you do with McCarron, he's a young guy, probably the only thing you'd do with him is ruin him for his career.
Yeah. Get back there and take a beat.
Like the Achilles Smith. I mean, maybe Achilles could have been a quarterback, but he wasn't ready to play it yet. They forced him to do it. He got the hell beat out of him. Same thing with David Klingler. I mean, Klingler, his first game in '92, they throw him to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he gets sacked like 10 times.
Yeah. And it's, you look at the teams, the consistently good teams, the New Englands, the Pittsburgh, the Packers, these teams that, have been, good over years, and the things that they do, and you bring in a quarterback, like you said, Achilles, and, David Klingler, and he's like, oh, he was the worst pick, but when you come to an organization like the Bengals, they're going to throw you in the fire because they have to. But at the same time, when they're throwing you in the fire, they don't have the urns around the fireplace to help you out. You're just going to go in there and burn up.
Yeah, but some of that's kind of ownership's problem, because if you remember, when they got Klingler, they still had Boomer, and they didn't put Klingler into like the 7th or 8th game of the season, and they could have just finished that season out with Boomer and started the next one with Klingler, gave him more of an opportunity. But I think since Paul or Mike Brown was paying so much money to the one guy, that he wanted that guy to play. Yeah,
I mean, and it goes back to, you look what Green Bay did with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, with Drew Bledsoe and Tom Brady. You look at those guys. They were able to learn, under those professional quarterbacks' tutelage. Those experienced guys. They were able to learn. There's some positions where you can fit a guy in, cornerback, a really gifted cornerback can come in and fit in because, hey, man, you played man in college, you played some zone. There's a lot. It's a lot more complex in the NFL, but, basically I can put a great cover guy from college and put him out in the NFL, and he can do well.
But Joe, there have been a lot of quarterbacks over the last 10 years that have been thrown into the fire and did all right. And I think a lot of that is this. I think the Bengals, you look at Achilles Smith, he was a scrambling quarterback. You look at David Klingler, he came from a run and shoot. They put these guys in offenses that were completely foreign to them. It's not like Big Ben, who goes to Pittsburgh. I mean, at Miami, he ran a pro-style offense. Yeah. So when he got to Pittsburgh, he didn't have as big a learning curve.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I did find one good thing in this game. I think the Bengals found their safety of the future. Number 42, Clayton, what's the hell you say? Fadejum or something?
I wouldn't try to pronounce that, but I know exactly who you are.
No, I don't know. But, Joe, the bad thing is this. I had it figured out until we did the show, and now I can't remember how the hell you say it. I think it's Fadejum. I think it's Fadejum.
Yeah, something like that.
That kid will hit somebody.
And you know what? I like 31. 31's I think he's a hitter. He can play. But I think the frustration, with this season, the epitome of our frustration in this season, Mike, was the last play of the game.
Yeah.
When you see the last play of the game and just the gall of Harbaugh saying, hey, you know what? This last play, we have a couple seconds. We're going to let the kicker run around. But the guy in front of you, I don't care. You grab him, you choke him, you hold him, you throw him to the ground.
But our guys didn't really fight that hard to get away from him.
Mike, that's what I am saying. You don't even understand as a linebacker, former linebacker, looking at that. I'm saying that is our season. That is why our season has gone the way it is. If you look at that, to me, it would just epitomize our season. Here, there's no way, Mike. There's no way on God's green earth that this guy would have held me for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I don't care if it was that.
Yeah, they were just standing at the line dancing with him.
Oh my God, Mike! I'm looking at it, and I'll just, to me, there's this words we really can't say, that we don't want to say, and it's not a real.
Yeah, because how many seconds were left when they snapped the ball? Wasn't it like 11?
I thought it was 14, but my thing, it just showed how soft we as a team, that epitomized our effort, our toughness, the fact that it's a lack of toughness, because I've seen guys trying, but as they were trying, I've seen that's what I seen. It was a half-ass effort trying to get loose of this guy that's holding you, as opposed to me seeing 3-4 guys. This guy's holding me, and you after 2-3 seconds, he's holding you on purpose. So I didn't see somebody slam a guy, and fight.
Yeah.
Get off and get to the ball.
They would have last year, Joe.
Huh?
They would have last year.
Yes. You would. To me, you would.
And in 14 seconds, Joe, if you're a player, you're on the field, you're not thinking they're taking a safety. You're thinking, I got to go block this kick.
Yeah. This is it.
So you should be charging off that damn line anyways. Ripping on them, trying to get back there to the punter.
You know what, Mike? I looked at that play over and over, and I was just saying, what a bunch of wussies.
Yeah.
A bunch of wussies. You look at it, and it's like, that's the epitome of our team.
And the bad thing, a lot of those guys are special teams players, which the only reason they're on the team is special teams.
Yeah.
And you've got, a 7 or 8 man practice squad? Why not just get rid of a few of them guys and put them back on the practice squad and bring the other guys up?
Yeah, it's
you got to make a statement at some point.
At some point in time, it's okay. Rather than now 3-7-1, let me see what these other guys can do. Let me see what these other guys can do. You have, well, I'm not saying everybody. I'm looking at Geno. Geno is still playing possession.
Oh, Geno plays hard. Carlos plays hard. They just don't let him play anymore. They don't let Carlos do what Carlos does best.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Vontaze Burfict's busting his butt out there. But let's face it, Vontaze Burfict's also carrying a little bit of extra weight on him, too.
Yeah, 55 is exempt from my conversation. Because
he makes almost every freaking tackle. And, the other thing is this. Defensively, they didn't play horribly, but they didn't play well. Baltimore has no offense. And the thing is this. I don't think the Bengals are a real talented team right now. But I know they've got more talent on their team than the Ravens, even with the injuries.
Exactly.
And the Steelers, the same thing. The Steelers have a lot more talent right now than the Ravens. But the Ravens, for some reason, just beat them both.
Yeah.
Because they play harder.
It's about effort. Because, at this point in your career, this is the best of the best. You can play. You get to this level, and you can play. So what separates, if you and I are the same, pretty much talent-wise. Yeah, and desire. You can't measure my heart. You may run faster than me. You may be stronger than me. And
But if I want it more than you, I won't beat you.
I am. It is. It's always. It was. To me, it's in any game, in any situation, it's about your effort, it's about your passion. You're going to get blocked. Like I said, I don't, we talk about, you look at,
everybody gets blocked, but you can't just quit when you do.
Yeah. So, when I say you have guys, I look over my career and I said, okay, here, I played with Howie Long, Hall of Famer. I played with Reggie White, Hall of Famer. These guys that I play with a lot of other guys who are Hall of Fame type guys. I can tell you there's pretty much most starters at some point in their career, they had a couple Hall of Fame type games. And me playing against the Hall of Famer, I may have kicked his ass that game. But it just wasn't over the course of my career. So when you look at guys, guys can play. Guys can run. They can block. They can tackle. They can make plays. You got some guys on defense who they're some things you can't teach. You can't teach people to be like Reggie White, on a consistent basis.
No, Reggie White is born that way. But you know what?
Yeah.
I think the desire is developed through your life.
Yeah.
The talent you're born with. Desire, maybe you're born with it, maybe you're not. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure desire just comes from your surroundings and the way you decide to treat life.
You look at Burfict, 4.99, 5 flat guy. There's no way.
But he wants to tackle somebody.
Exactly. He shouldn't. How is this kid getting to every tackle? He's almost on every play. How? If he runs.
Yeah, and I think he's out of shape, and he's in almost every play.
He is terribly out of shape. He's terribly out of shape. You know, and but this, you know, like you said, it's that fire, it's that passion.
Well, see, I think what Burfict's got to do to become the best linebacker in football is he has the desire to do it when he's playing. He needs to learn how to develop the desire to prepare to play.
Prepare. You know, because at this point, that's what I'm saying. Everybody talent-wise is pretty equal, but you know, it's your desire. But on your desire, within your desire, it's preparation. You can go out and I don't care who you are. If you don't prepare in this league, you're going to get beat.
Yeah, and the problem is this. If they don't step up the desire, they're going to get beat by Cleveland in 2 weeks.
And you know what?
Because Cleveland plays hard. Cleveland wants to. They're just not good enough.
Yeah. Cleveland is in every game at halftime.
I think they've been blind. I would bet you this. I would bet probably 6 of their games out of the 10 or 11 they've played, they've lost by less than a touchdown.
Yeah. Yes. So it's you know, it's like I said, it's effort. It's going to be you know, it's just disappointing, man. I'm telling myself I'm going down to this game, going to tailgate in the rain, possibly snow, and then to walk in that stadium and just see a half-ass effort is just, it's disappointing, man. It's disappointing. And I know it's definitely disappointing for, you know, Bengal fans, definitely. If you would have asked anybody prior to the beginning of the season, at worst, we would have been 9-6. If the wheels fell off, you could have told me that we wouldn't have been at least 9, you know, or 10-6. I never even looked at us being 9-7. I couldn't see us losing 7 games. I didn't prior to the season. Now it's just I don't know. It seems like they don't know how to win. You know, we're going to do something at some point in time in the game to not just do enough to make that extra block to get that touchdown, beat this guard in order to stop this 3rd and 3. You know, don't commit this penalty to get an automatic first down. It seems that every time we're in a situation where we have an opportunity, because the crazy thing about it, Mike, we've had opportunities in majority of these games to win.
Well, hell, if Mike Nugent makes some kicks, we're probably sitting at least 5-6.
Yeah.
A game out of first.
Yeah.
But yet we keep him around. But that brings us to this week. The Philadelphia Eagles will come to Paul Brown Stadium at 5-6. I think this is a really good young team. Injuries have decimated them over the last few weeks. They've only averaged 14 points a game over the last 2 weeks. Injuries, like I said, have killed him. Ryan Matthews sat out last week, is unlikely to go again this Sunday. Jordan Matthews left the Packers game early with an ankle sprain. But I know Coach Doug Peterson said, I think yesterday, that he's not sure if he's going to play because he didn't practice Wednesday. It was limited on Thursday. So how did the Bengals beat the Eagles in what could be a 9-6 game? And if it is, we probably get the 6 because we missed the extra point.
Exactly. If Philly had a couple more of their guys, they like you said, they are decimated across the board. There's injuries. Guys are playing hurt.
Because this looked like a playoff team a few weeks ago.
Yes, it did. But like you said, you know, it's the depth. You know, they have their front line players are good, and they played better than all of us had expected them to play. But when you lose their key components of your team, and you don't have a lot of depth, thus you start sliding. And this is what has happened to Philadelphia. I don't know if did you hear anything about AJ? Is AJ?
AJ's not playing.
He's out.
That's from what I hear. It'll be a few more weeks probably. I don't know if he'll play again this year. And I mean, the point is this: if they lose this game and they're 3-8-1, is there a point of putting him out there anyway? Yes,
exactly. Absolutely not. But I still, no matter what, I still and not thinking and you know, not picking from my heart, I still think the Bengals, the fact that Philly is so decimated at certain spots, that the Bengals are going to somehow, some way, pull out a victory. It's going to have to be close because once again, we do not know how to score touchdowns. We forgot what that is.
Well, here's my worry, Joe. If we're playing a close game, I'm going to take the team with the field goal kicker that can make a kick. The other thing that worries me about this team is this. They don't have a lot of weapons, but they got Zach Ertz, who's a really good tight end, and we know what tight ends do to the Bengals. I also worry about they're just going to sit down and run the ball with Wendell Smallwood and Darren Sproles. I mean, I hope the Bengals win.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking at that, but I think our situation that we're in, you know, without Giovanni and without AJ, I still think we're man for man that we're better than Philly based on who's going to be on the field for Philly Sunday. I think we're better than those guys, and I think I just have to believe that at some point in time, and I'm saying it's Sunday, that we're going to grow a pair of kahunas and man up, go out there and win a game, you know, and stop this horrible slide, man.
Well, on defense, the thing that worries me about them is they've got a really good front, the Eagles do. They haven't gotten pressure over the last month, but a lot of that's because Fletcher Cox, I think, has been double-teamed a lot. And the reason they've done it is because Brandon Graham hasn't done much on the end. My worry here is that Brandon Graham's going to be against Cedric Ogbuehi, which may shift the Bengals to double-team to help Ogbuehi and then leave Fletcher Cox one-on-one, which I think could be a major problem.
Yeah.
And then you still got Connor Barwin and Vinny Curry. So, I mean, they haven't got pressure on the passer for the last month. I think they will this week, though. And, I mean, I look at it, I see all the Eagles' injuries, and I want to pick the Bengals. I mean, we did the NFL Pick'em show, former Bronco Mark Cooper the other night, and I wanted to pick the Bengals. But when it got down to it, I couldn't because, number one, I'm leading and I want to win. But number two, my big problem is this. That last play of the game. I mean, if they don't want it that bad, we know the Eagles are a young team that's going to be a contender probably next year when they're healthy. I mean, how are we going to beat a team that has played hard every game and looks like they're trying to win?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, man. I think that's why we are where we are, you know. And we look at we lost a couple key guys. But
everybody does, though.
Yeah, everybody does. And, you know, it wasn't like we weren't totally decimated. You know, we still had this core of good guys coming back. But then you have to. You know, we are losing these games based on effort and desire, period. There's blown calls, you missed calls. But to do it over the course of 11 games, and, you know, you're sitting 3-7-1, it comes down to execution and desire. And the desire to beat the guy in front of you. It's still, even with the rule changes, it's still football, Mike. It's you beat the guy in front of you. Period.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times, especially on defense, the Bengals just outsmart themselves. And the thing I'm worried about is the Bengals are primarily a zone defense. The Eagles have played a lot better this year against zones because their wide receivers struggle to get open against man-to-man defense. So I think if the Bengals come out, and especially if Jordan Matthews is playing, Matthews is great at running zone-beating routes. If Matthews is healthy and playing, and we play zone against them, they're going to score some points on us.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think you come out, you man them up, you go after the quarterback, and show you got some balls. But we all know what's going to happen. We're going to play zone. We're going to drop Carlos Dunlap and Michael Johnson in the pass coverage, and it just makes no sense to me. I mean, that's my problem with it. Right now, I mean, the defensive coordinator is the biggest problem on this team, I think.
Yeah, he's totally outsmarted himself, in my opinion. You're trying to do things, like you said, with especially your defensive ends. I still think it has to be a scheme problem. If you're safe,
last year they were the number 2 scoring defense in football. He was still running Zimmer's stuff. The year before, they were in the top 5, I think, scoring defense. Why would you change what was working?
You know what? Because of ego.
Yeah, because it wasn't his defense.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's ego. That's what this game is. So, you know, I want to go and somebody looked at me that, okay, I'm not running so-and-so's defense. But, you know, defenses and offenses are duplicated all the time.
There's not much invention that can go on in a sport that's been around for 100 years. And you look, Darrell Royal started the wishbone at Texas in the early 60s. You know, Barry Switzer, you know, the coaches at Oklahoma didn't have a hard time implementing. They won a bunch of national championships until they ran into the Washington Huskies and Joe Kelly in the 1985 Orange Bowl.
That's right.
Had to get a plug in for you there.
Yeah. So
but, I mean, seriously, why would you have a problem with running his defense? I mean, hell, now Paul Guenther's going to find himself being a linebackers coach somewhere in another 2 years if it keeps up.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not because he's a Bengals coach. But
but still, I don't. It'd be hard for me to think that Jim Haslett is content on being a linebacker coach in this defense.
Well, I think Jim Haslett, I think it's very possible that Mike Brown may get rid of Marvin Lewis. And the Haslett family, I think, has been friends with the Browns family for a long time. We know how the Browns work. I think it's very possible that Haslett is here either so they can scapegoat Guenther, which is not really a scapegoat, but it is for most teams, but not this one. Fire him, make Haslett the defensive coordinator, and keep Marvin, which I would actually, you know, if you could change Guenther and Paul Alexander, I'll keep Marvin just to get rid of those two.
But I think, honestly, a lot of fans are calling for Marvin's head and this and that. I don't think the Browns are going to see it like that.
Well, see, Joe, this is the thing now, all right? I think Marvin's a good coach. I think the job Marvin's done here has been amazing, but the end of that game against the Ravens tells me that they probably need a new head coach.
Yeah, because that
right, could you imagine the New England Patriots going through the motions with 14 seconds left?
Oh, no, I could, you know, the thing, that play, you know, that play sticks with me more than any play this entire season.
Yeah, that right there tells me the whole coaching staff needs to go.
Yeah, that sucks. It sucks. It sucks.
But I also think Haslett could be the setup to be the next coach.
We never know, but at the end of the day,
Tom Coughlin still wants a job, and Mike Brown loves Tom Coughlin.
But Mike, you know, I know, Tom Coughlin is going to come in here and he's going to want to make decisions. Yeah,
but you know what? I think Marvin and them were allowed to make more decisions starting in 2010 when the stadium was half full. So it might be something where Mike Brown may have to do something to save face. And remember, Mike wanted Tom Coughlin. Katie wanted Marvin Lewis. Mike went with what Katie wanted. So if he wanted Tom Coughlin then, I'm sure, and now Tom Coughlin's won 2 Super Bowls he's got under his belt.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of hard. You know, it's kind of like when Jerry Jones, you know, got Bill Parcells. I think he knew he was giving up some control then.
Yeah. And, you know, I still don't think, Mike, I don't think they're going to hire a coach, an established coach, who's going to want to come and do it his way. That's not going to happen.
I don't think they will either.
Mike Brown, as long as Mike Brown is breathing, that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to come in here and take over control.
Yeah, but the thing is this. Maybe Coughlin comes in and thinks he can work with Mike Brown, but the point is this. I think this team is at the stage. The Cincinnati Bengals from 1970 through 77 were always a playoff contender. Never won a playoff game, got to the playoffs, I think, 3 or 4 times, never quite got there. All right? They had 1 or 2 really bad years where they were a soft team. All right? The roster was still pretty much the same in 1980. What did they do to change that? They brought in a guy that would stick his foot in somebody's ass.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Coughlin might be 70, but you know he's not going to take the crap that we saw last Sunday.
Right, exactly.
And I still like the dude. I still like the guy that we had to let go. Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
Because that's a young, energetic kid. I mean, you give me either one, there needs to be new life breathed into it.
Yeah, mine is on a win streak. So
yeah, I mean, even the greatest coaches overstay their welcome. Chuck Noll, You know, it took 22, 23 years, but there came a point where it was time to go. It wasn't good enough coach to coach the team. It was just stuff becomes stale after a long time.
Yeah, I agree. So, you know, it's tough, and I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvin remained and he changed the defensive coordinator and possibly the offensive coordinator. I never know. But
the offensive coordinator, I'll give a little leeway just because of the fact that I don't think he's had many weapons all year except for A.J. Green.
That
and a couple running backs.
Whoever is deciding to continue to play number 70 will
70. Yeah, 70.
Yeah, away.
That's probably Paul Alexander because he's a dipshit anyway. So no.
You know, I think they keep Zampeter. I think they get rid of Paul Alexander. You have to because your line is that.
Hazlitt defensive coordinator.
And Hazlitt defensive coordinator. Gunther, I don't know, maybe demoted back to linebackers coach or DB coach.
Oh, they just need to get him out of here, I think.
You know, but at the end of the day, I think if Cosset is named defensive coordinator, he may want to bring in, one of his guys. So I can see that happening because we're not in need of a total team overhaul. We need a couple good linemen. I think if we can go land just a solid guard, a solid tackle. The kid from Arizona State, get him in there, get him some reps.
I still think that kid could play center. I know he was a guard in college.
Yeah.
The Jake Fisher experiment, I think Jake Fisher, I think the reason he's not in there is because he's not any better than Agway.
That, to me, Mike, that would almost seem impossible.
No, it's not. Because, I remember watching him preseason. Same thing. Yeah. He's got the forward lean with the shoulder pads. He doesn't kick step real well. And he's just not big enough, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I still like the fact that they need to go out and get the best veteran tackle in free agency, which we know they won't do. And then they need to draft the best tackle they can find in the draft in the first round. And then they need to move Whitworth to guard. Get Bowling out of here.
Yeah.
Zeitler, I think, is all right. I think he just looks bad because he's trying to help cover for everybody else. And you put Westerman at guard or at center.
Yeah.
And I think if the offensive line was good enough right now, I think Dalton's good enough that they would at least be in the hunt.
Yeah.
Because I think Tyler Boyd's looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's had a solid he's had a solid rookie year so far.
Yeah, I think LaFell does not help things too much.
No, LaFell, no. So he didn't pan out the way we would hope. It's time to get those young guys, the young receivers in there and see what they can do. But Alex Erickson, he got some reps last week. The other kid, 86, got some reps.
James Wright.
James Wright. So,
and I'll tell you, Rex Burkhead looked really good running the ball.
Rex has always looked good to me.
You know what's going to be a shame? I think Rex's contract's up after this year, isn't it? It's going to be a shame to watch Rex become a 1,000-yard rusher for the Patriots.
Yeah, you know what? Rex he's always looked good running the ball. He's always looked coming out of the backfield as a receiver. He's always looked good in the slot. He's always looked good on special teams. Always. What I've seen, I've never seen him have a string of bad plays. I've always seen him.
And you know what? When Jeremy Hill couldn't get positive yardage, he was.
Yes. Yeah. So it's opportunity. It's opportunity. Mike, you get in there and you may be a lower level guy and you get an opportunity to shine, and the next thing you are that 1,000-yard rusher.
I still think he looks like a New England Patriot next year.
You know what? It would be disappointing. It would be disappointing at least to look at him go somewhere because he's a solid guy. He's an NFL player.
Yeah, and I think he might be better than solid, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I like Burkett.
I'm not saying he's necessarily Jeremy Hill, but I don't know that he's not.
Yeah.
I think they ought to find out before the season's over.
Yeah. I think they will. We have enough. He has enough games. He has enough games to showcase. Because guys playing right now, and when you're out of the hunt, you're showcasing. If you're not AJ Green, Carlos Dunlap, okay, you know the guys, Geno Atkins, the rest of you guys, you are showcasing your talents for other teams throughout the rest of the year for next year. They're seeing, hey, Cincinnati, those two young guys, this guy looked pretty good.
Hey, and remember this, Joe. It may look like we're out of it, but if we were to win out, we'd have a shot at this.
That I don't even want to talk about that. Man.
Yeah, but put it like this week, if Pittsburgh loses to the Giants, which is possible, Baltimore loses to Miami, which is possible, they'd be a game and a half out.
Yeah.
And then we go to Cleveland, and I think Baltimore has to play New England, and Pittsburgh goes to Buffalo.
Yeah.
But let's just forget I even said that.
To lose 2 and us win 2, and we sit up here. I'm still going to be disappointed, even if they did. It's still a disappointing season, regardless of what you look. But my thing is, finish strong, finish it.
Yeah, at least look like you're trying.
Yeah. So just finish it, man.
All right, Joe, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for this week. What do we got next week? Who do we play?
Next week, man, it's a battle of Ohio.
Oh yeah, it's Cleveland. Yeah, that should be awesome.
So we're gonna not worry about the records. We're gonna just look back on the tradition and the rivalry and.
Yeah, maybe we'll see if we get a guest and talk a little Cincinnati, Cleveland back in the old days.
Yeah, that'd be good. We'll see if I can get somebody in, and that because that was such a great rivalry for so long. Unfortunately, they're having an awful year, and we're having an awful year.
They've had an awful century so far, Joe.
Yeah. So it's tough. But I'm actually going to that game. That game is actually on my birthday, and we're going to head up there, and hopefully Darius is active that game.
Is it really a present to have to go to Cleveland on your birthday?
All right. Yeah, well, I'm going to go see my godson, Darius Hillary.
Yeah, I know. I was just kidding. I had to make fun of Cleveland as much as I can.
I know, man. I know.
But I would like to say this. If the Bengals lose to the Browns, hopefully it's because Darius gets a pick 6 in the fourth quarter.
And I would tell you, because if that happened, I would have my Bengal jersey on, but I know I would damn jump up and scream and, yeah!
Well, it's not like it's keeping us from winning a Super Bowl, Joe.
Right. Exactly.
All right, guys. We will be back with you next week. Make sure you check out The Grueling Truth at www.gruelingtruth.net. Check out our main sponsor, Gridiron Mode, www.gridironmode.com. So, for Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpasture. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.